Hi everybody, happy Friday. It is morning time. We're gonna see if this time works a little bit better. And so I hope you're having a great Friday. I hope you had the best week that you could. And I hope that your coffee is doing it for you today, and that it's strong enough. So Fridays, we do a Facebook Live where we give you tips and tricks to help your child get the best education that they possibly can have, and to alleviate some of the stress that you may be going through as the parent of an elementary schooler or a middle schooler. So if you enjoy these videos, make sure that you're following along, that you like our page wherever you're watching this, so that you don't ever miss one. And I would love it if you are watching this either live or later, that you just comment and tell me that you're watching, or tell me what you got from this video, or even tell me where you're watching this from. I love seeing that we have people who follow along from all different parts of the country and maybe even the world. I don't know. So today we're talking about reading logs, and this is maybe a controversial subject, so stick with me. But reading logs have been around for a very long time. I may remember even doing them when I was in school. You may have done them when you were in school, and I know some schools still implement the reading log. So raise your hand if your child has to do a reading log. And let's go into first the reason behind why reading logs are assigned, and then we will talk about why it's stealing your kids' joy and stressing you out, and then what you can do about it. And we're going to keep it short. Remember, we keep these under 10 minutes. So I think the reasoning behind the reading log is to try to get kids to read a certain amount every day. A lot of times in education, these studies will come out and it will say like kids who read 30 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day are better readers. And then we say, okay, great, like we're gonna make them do that. But then what may have gotten hidden or buried in the context is those kids were reading 15 minutes a day like because they wanted to, instead of reading because a teacher made them, and maybe we don't get the same results from the homework assigned reading versus the just pleasure reading that those kids in that study were doing on their own. So that's kind of why reading logs are assigned. It's to get kids to read a certain amount every day, make sure that they're practicing their reading. But the part that kind of gets hard is then you're kind of making reading a chore. And obviously kids need to read for school, but we want them to be kids who love reading, right? And so that reading log may be really stressing your child out, and making them hate reading because the teacher's telling them they have to do this, they have to do it after school every day for a certain amount of minutes. So there's usually like a timer going, and I know some reading logs even like tell you what you have to read. Like you have to read so much nonfiction, you have to read so much fiction, you have to read this, you have to read that. And that can become really like oppressing. Imagine if someone was coming to you and saying, you need to read this amount every day, you need to read this kind of book, and I'm gonna check it, and you're gonna have your parent or spouse sign off on it. Like that would not feel good. So that's kind of why it's stealing your child's joy, and it may be like kind of steering them away from reading for pleasure because they feel like that's a chore. And we don't want that. Like that is not great. A few other reasons why it might feel weird for your child doing a reading log is that they might not be comfortable with the teacher seeing what they're reading. Like maybe they're reading things that maybe aren't on their grade level. Maybe they're liking to read something that's a little bit easier. They're reading comic books, or they're reading the back of the cereal box. They're reading something that maybe they feel like their teacher might judge them for, whether that's true or not. And then kids like with reading difficulties, visual impairments, learning differences, they're going to school, they have to read a lot at school, they have to look at a lot of things at school, and they might just be tired when they get home, and like sitting down and looking at a book and reading it may not seem like the best thing to them right then because their eyes are tired, their brain is tired. So that might be, those are a few of the reasons why the reading log might just seem like a super big chore for your child and might be kind of tanking their love of reading. And we don't want that. So we're going to talk about some things that you can do if your child has to do a reading log to keep that from tanking their love of reading. So, you know, let me know too in the comments, like, what has been your experience with reading logs? I know some people, like, they have a great experience with them. That this is not something that happens to everybody, but I have personally seen it happen to a lot of kids, especially kids who are struggling with reading. So if your child is assigned a reading log and that comes home, it's stressing you out, stressing your child out, here are some things that you can do. So try to feel out the teacher and see if there are alternates to that reading log. So something you could ask them is, you know, is it okay if I secretly log my child's reading? Like maybe you know your child is already reading for 15 minutes every day. Like maybe you don't even need to bring the reading log into it. Like maybe you personally can write down what they read and the time that they read it without even bringing your child into the mix. That could be one option. Another option could be to see if you can log things like you reading to them or listening to an audiobook. So those two things, especially if your child does struggle with reading or they have a visual impairment, there's something else going on there that's making them really tired after school, this could also be a great option. So talk to the teacher about that. If you are struggling with the reading log and you think that they might be receptive to some alternatives. And this will kind of, you know, maybe give an end to your child getting that reading in, but also not stressing about it. Another thing that you can do is take the pressure off by letting your child read whatever they want and recording those minutes. So like maybe they're gonna read the back of the cereal box and that's okay. Or they're gonna read the rules to a game that they want to play, and that's okay. Like log the reading that your child is doing, maybe if it's not even a book, if the teacher is receptive to that. And then you might also give them the choice as far as like the time of day that they read. So say like, you know, you got to get this done. You pick when you do it. I'm not going to make you sit down at a specific time. Depends on the kid. Some kids are very receptive to that, some are not. So if your child likes a lot of choice, that can be a really great option. And so I have lots of suggestions here. Another thing that you can do is sit down, if you can. I know everyone's really busy, but if your child has to sit down to read for their reading log, go ahead and just make it like a family event. Everybody gets really cozy for those minutes that they have to read. You read, they read, everybody reads. Maybe have like a special basket of blankets that you use, that you get all snuggled up and cozy with. Maybe there is a like special drink or a special snack that everybody can have while they read together. And that makes it more into like a personalized good memory instead of like this memory of the parent, you know, like you need to do your reading for your reading log. You're really behind. I know that every family is different and like everybody has different things going on after school that might not be possible for you. But kind of making it a family event could really take that pressure off. If you can't do it with your child, you can still make it special by like building that time into the after school routine. And maybe your child does eat their snack while they read, or they, you know, get to lounge on a special chair while they read. Come up with something that you know your child would be really into, that they feel like is special, and tie that to that reading. Because that will, again, build those really great memories. And instead of like that reading time after school tanking their love of reading, it could actually increase their love of reading if they have the right feelings about it. So those are just a few ways that you can help your child like build back their love of reading if the reading log is taking away that joy. I really wish that schools would maybe do away. But you know, there are only so many things that we can control. So we're just gonna control the things that, you know, we can control. So Tell me what your experiences with the reading log are, if you found anything that works for your family. And I will see you guys back next week, and we're going to be talking more about reading, but about something different. So have a great Friday, have the best weekend you can, and I will see you next week.